Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football mock draft. Today, we're doing a 10-team half PPR draft from the fourth spot, as requested by one of my subscribers, Chuck. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Before I start the video, though, I'd like to ask you guys to please go down below and please click that subscribe button, because when you click that subscribe button, you're going to be getting all types of content that's going to help you win your fantasy football championship. You're going to be able to dominate the draft, be able to dominate the waiver wire, dominate trades, dominate the season, and lift that championship and kiss it. Moi, you know? You want to fucking win, so let's get into this. Like I said, it's a 10-team half PPR mock draft from pick 4. The roster is one quarterback, two running backs, two wideouts, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bench spots. So let's start the video right now. So the first pick is Chris McCaffrey, followed by Saquon, Alvin Kamara, and typically, that's very typical. CMC, Saquon, Alvin Kamara are going to be going top three. And at number 4, we have Mr. Ezekiel Elliott. Now, the thing is, if this was a month ago before I thought Zeke was going to hold out, I would have completely have just picked Ezekiel Elliott here. But with the news and me not knowing what's going to happen, will Zeke come back? I believe he has to come back by the 6th or something. It's very confusing. I'm not someone who understands contracts completely, but I do know that if he's not back in the next couple of days, I'm going to be very scared and just completely avoid Ezekiel Elliott. So I'm going to be doing this as if Ezekiel Elliott decides to hold out, because I wouldn't want to make the video would be kind of pointless if Ezekiel Elliott doesn't come back and I picked him here, and you would just feel kind of dumb if that was what was going to happen and you picked Zeke. So as of right now, I'm just avoiding Zeke, so that's what we're going to do here. So typically that the pick is Zeke here, but I do like getting a running back, of a great running back in the first round, but in a 10-team league like that, the running back value is so good late that I'd feel pretty comfortable here going with my favorite wide receiver here at the fourth spot, and that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go with Devonte Adams here now. Since like I said, it's a 10-team league, so there's a lot of running back value later. It's not a 12 or 14-team league where there's extra picks in between. So in the third round, there's still a lot of great running backs that are gonna be here. Same within the fourth round that I like, and in the second round. So I'm gonna be very comfortable here, just picking Devonte Adams, a guy who I think is gonna be the wide receiver one when the season comes to a close. Now he doesn't get as many targets as a guy like DeAndre Hopkins gets, and maybe that's why he would go with DeAndre Hopkins, but I think Devontae Adams is going to score more touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers last year wasn't throwing the amount of touchdowns that he typically throws based on his career touchdown rate, and I think this year Devontae Adams is going to score a shit ton of touchdowns. He's going to catch a bunch of passes and be very consistent, just like he was all of last season. So for that reason, we're just going to go with Devontae Adams here. After we selected Devontae Adams, Ezekiel Elliott came off the board, followed by DJ, DeAndre Hopkins, Le'Veon Bell, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, James Conner, Joe Mixon, Tyreek Hill, Todd Gurley, Odell Beckham Jr., Melvin Gordon. So this guy went with the double holdout team. The coveted double holdout Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon team. Now, if both of them do not hold out, this team is going to be great. But since I think Melvin Gordon will probably hold out for 8 games, that is just very dumb. A guy like Todd Gurley went before. Now, Todd Gurley has the upside of being a great running back this season, obviously. But I believe that he is going to be his workload is going to be a lot lessened due to the fact that he has that arthritis of the knee, and I just don't believe in getting a guy like Todd Gurley this early, who could just be out any given week. So no one went with the double wide receiver strategy here. So the wide receiver value is pretty good here, coming back in the second spot. But we're going to look at the running backs first to see what kind of running backs are still available. We could still get quite the combo at running back, so I'm not willing to go with Juju Smith-Schuster here, even though I do like Juju a lot. I just don't like escaping the first 3 rounds without two running backs typically. I love to do that because the running backs, even like I said, even though there's more running backs later that are better, you still can barely ever pick up a running back off the waiver wire where you can easily pick up a wide receiver that is flexible, a wide receiver that could be your wide receiver 2 for any given week. So that's why we're going to go with a running back here. Right here, Dalvin Cook could be a solid pick, but he is too injury prone. And even though it's 2 years off the ACL, I still don't think that he's the most uninjury prone guy, so I just don't like going him. So I'd rather go with Nick Chubb, a guy who I know will, for at least the first 9 weeks, be playing as a great running back. I think he could finish as a top 5 running back. He's great. I like him a lot in fantasy this season, and I think that the concern about Kareem Hunt coming back and stealing his job is just a non-concern to me. So we're gonna go to Nick Chubb here. After we went Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook went followed by AB, Travis Kelsey, Juju Smith-Schuster, Damian Williams, Mike Evans. Typically, Travis Kelsey does go in the first 2 rounds, so that's pretty normal. Now, his other tight ends, his friends, George Kittle and Zach Ertz, the big three tight ends, are going to not probably make it out of the third or fourth round. Typically, in a 10-team league, I am more likely to strike on a tight end early. Now, I went with a wide receiver with the first pick, so I'm not as likely to go with a tight end here, and I don't think I would here at the third pick, maybe at the fourth pick if Kittle was to fall to me, I would be willing to strike. But at this point, I don't believe that is what's going to happen. So we are going to be going running back here now. Like I said, there's a lot of great running back value here in a 10-team league in the third round. Guys like Aaron Jones, Marlon Mack, Kerryon Johnson, all guys that I really like to target. Aaron Jones is on Green Bay. He's on a great offense, just like Marlon Mack, also on a great offense. The Detroit Lions running back Kerryon Johnson, not on as good of a team in my opinion, but still going to be a great runner this year. So it's the decision between those three. Leonard Fournette is just off my board due to the fact of his injury proneness, his inability to show up to team pictures, his inability to just do things correctly. It proved to me that I know I could start him for 16 games. So we're just going to avoid Leonard Fournette here and most likely just go for one of the other three. So I think the safest option here is probably Marlon Mack. And I preach to go very safe. Kerryon Johnson has some injury risk. Marlon Mack doesn't have as much injury risk, even though Marlon Mack is not going to catch as many balls as Kerryon will catch, which is obviously better in a half PPR league. But I do want to get a safe runner here in the third round, and that's why we're going to go with Marlon Mack. So after we selected Marlon Mack, Pat Mahomes came off the board, followed by Keenan Allen, Leonard Fournette, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper, Kerryon Johnson, Adam Thielen, George Kittle, Derrick Henry, Devontae Freeman, AJ Green, Stephon Diggs. So now it's our pick. So I kind of lied to you guys a bit because the big three tight ends, Zach Ertz may make it out of the fourth round. I highly doubt it. Someone's going to pick him after here. But I don't believe as much in Zach Ertz as I do in Kittle. So for that reason, we just won't go a tight end here, even though the value for Kittle would have been very good here. Pat Mahomes, first quarterback selected in the third round. Now you got to know that in these mocks that I'm doing, the ADP is going to be slightly different than your at-home league. In your at-home league, if you're playing with friends and family and not people who do like hours of research, like you are probably doing, if you're watching my videos, you're doing a lot of research, a lot more research than a lot of people do. So you know not to take a quarterback early, but Pat Mahomes may go in the first or second round of your at-home league. So and maybe even a guy like Rodgers or Luck or Watson may go in like the second, or third, or fourth round. Maybe there'll be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 4 rounds. That's typically what I've noticed in the past. So here we could either go with the triple running back strategy, which typically does pay off, but I'd rather just go wide receiver here and then try to get maybe a great runner to play in the flex in the fifth round. So right here, there's some great players still available. T.Y. Hilton, Julian Edelman, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods. Now, I do like T.Y. Hilton a lot, but I am going to pick him. But I want to preface this pick by saying that it came out that Andrew Luck's calf has been a problem for multiple months. So if Andrew Luck is not going to be playing well, or if he's not going to be playing the first couple of games, I would just take Ty and just throw him the fuck out. I wouldn't pick Ty here. But I think that Andrew Luck's calf should heal in time for the beginning of the season. I'm not necessarily super worried, but that's obviously a reason why you may want to avoid Ty Hilton. But in the fourth round, his value is definitely great here over a guy like AJ Green, who we already know is going to miss most likely not 4 games, I would say, but 2 to 3 games at the beginning of the season due to his injury that occurred in practice. So we're going to go with T.Y. Hilton here. After we selected T.Y. Hilton, Josh Jacobs, followed by Mark Ingram, Andrew Luck, David Montgomery, Julian Edelman, Brandon Cooks, and now it's our pick. So I would avoid going Andrew Luck this high, knowing about his calf injury at the moment. Anyways, I would rather go a guy like Rodgers over Luck because I think that Rodgers is just safer. So it's the fifth round, and Mr. Zach Ertz still has not been selected. Now, typically, like I said, I'm not willing to pull the trigger on Zach Ertz in like the third or fourth round, but his value right here in the fifth is so immense because the fact that typically he's like a fourth round guy and his ADP is 36 and he fell so far to me in the 5th round that I think not taking him, even though I think Kittle is going to be better, is just going to be a dumb decision. So I'm going to go Zach Ertz here. Now, typically in your at-home league, this may not happen, but I'm drafting based on the value in the draft, and taking Zach Ertz here definitely has a lot of value. So if you want to make the case that you want to get Zach Ertz there, replace him with O.J. Howard in your mind, and that's how the team would end up. So after we went Zach Ertz, Robert Woods went, followed by Kenny Galladay, Chris Godwin, Phillip Lindsay, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, Calvin Ridley, Sony Michelle, Tevin Coleman, Cooper Kupp, James White, Jarvis Landry. So, since we went to tight end early, we're going to probably stray away from the quarterback position for a bit because I like to normally wait for both the quarterback and the tight end, but like I said, the value was so great there. So, the wide receiver position, we're looking at guys like Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore, Alshon Jeffrey. Here at the running back position, we got guys like Kenyon Drake, Tariq Cohen, Lamar Miller, Darius Geis, Rashad Penny. So, I think that with Kenyon Drake, now I've talked about this a lot. I think that all that stuff about Kalen Ballage being the running back one may have been a smokescreen set by their coach because, or our coach technically, I'm a Dolphins fan, our coach, because what he was saying. Maybe it'll be here so I can get the exact quote. That is going to most likely be a shared backfield, right? So is the value there in the 4th or 5th round where he was typically going? I don't think so. Is there value for him in the 6th round when he's a guy that I'm flexing? I believe so. I think he's a lot safer than a guy like Tariq Cohen, who you don't know how much David Montgomery's going to ease into that situation, how much targets David Montgomery is going to be taking. Kalen Ballage is looking like he's going to be more of the runner on the team, and Kenyon Drake is going to get a solid 5-6 targets each game, which is obviously going to be, if he catches just 4 of those, that's 2 fantasy points in a half PPR league. So that's obviously a benefit there. And whereas Tariq Cohen may catch the ball 5 or 6 times a game, but he may only touch the ball 3 times through rushing. So how many yards can you really get getting the ball 3 or 4 times a game? So we're going to go with Kenyon Drake, Miami running back here. After we selected Kenyon Drake, a quarterback run began, but it stopped because Deshaun Watson was picked, followed by Aaron Rodgers, and then DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Lamar Miller, O.J. Howard. So we're going to go with a wide out here because one of my favorite wide receivers has fallen to us. A guy that I could put in the flex instead of Kenyon Drake, and that is Mr. Tyler Boyd. Now, Tyler Boyd this year is looking to have a true breakout season. Last year, he semi-broke out. He was a guy that you picked up off the waiver wire, and we're having solid. Oh my God, I don't know what the fuck just happened when I was trying to talk there, but he's a guy that could definitely have more a more safe season than last year. He played a bunch of great games, but this year he looks to do it for all 16 games. AJ Green is going to be out the first likely 2, 3, 4 games of the season. And Tyler Boyd playing with a real quarterback, Andy Dalton. He was playing with a backup last year at parts. He's playing with Joe Mixon, and they're going to be able to play with they have a new coach now as well on the Bengals. The Bengals had 2 absolute clowns coaching them towards the end of the season. It was Marvin Jones and Hugh Jackson's 2 absolute laughingstocks in the NFL. And Tyler Boyd now has a better coach, a guy that is not fucking stupid. So I believe that Tyler Boyd this year has a great breakout potential, and I would take him in the 6th round, but he fell to us in the 7th round. So I'm very confident with Tyler Boyd in fantasy football this season. This is quite the value here in the 7th round. After we went Tyler Boyd, Evan Ingram came off the board, followed by Mr. I'm Feeling Dangerous, Baker Mayfield, Alshon Jeffrey, Tariq Cohen, Matthew Ice, Darius Geis. Matthew Ice, Darius Geis. That rhymes, okay? So let me scroll up. Darius Geis, Dante Pettis, Rashad Penny, Hunter Henry, Allen Robinson, Eric Ebron, Darrell Henderson. So now we can get another running back. Now we're going to get Mr. Latavius Murray here because Latavius Murray, if you've watched my videos in the past, I draft Latavius Murray a lot, and I've talked about him a lot. So Latavius Murray, the reason why I like him so much is because I think that he's going to be propelled into that Mark Ingram type role from last season, where Mark Ingram was suspended for the first 4 games, 5 games, something like that. When he came back, he was a solid option for your flex or you're running back 2 in a deeper league. Now, this is a league that it's a 10-team league, not very deep, but you can still start Latavius Murray as your flex, and I wouldn't be too worried about that because he's going to be vulturing touchdowns from Alvin Kamara. He's going to probably get 10 touches a game, 10, 11, 12 touches a game, going to probably get 50 yards, catch maybe a ball or two because Latavius Murray obviously has pretty good hands, whereas Mark Ingram, in my opinion, doesn't have as good as hands. And I think that Latavius Murray is going to have a solid year this year, and as an 8th round pick, I think he's pretty worth it here at the back of the draft. If Alvin Kamara was to end up going down, Latavius Murray, Mr. LM, is going to take over that spot and probably be a top 10 back for those couple of weeks while Alvin Kamara's hurt, or if Alvin Kamara was to go down for the rest of the season, the Latavius Murray is a league-winning pick in the 8th round. After we went Latavius Murray, Robert Anderson came off the board, followed by Jared Cook, Jordan Howard, Kareem Hunt, Will Fuller, Austin Eckler. So now we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, I believe. Yes, 4 running backs, and 1, 2, 3 wide receivers. We have a tight end, and we have no quarterback. So likely we're still going to just wait on the quarterback position because in a 10-team league, the quarterbacks, it's a lot easier to pick a quarterback up, for instance. So if you pick a guy later and he ends up failing, you can just pick one up off the waiver wire and stick him in your lineup. So I'm more confident in doing that in a 10-team league, where if you're in a 14-team league, the waiver wire quarterbacks look like shit. There's guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Dwayne Haskins, who you don't even know has too much of a role in or on their team. So we're probably just going to go with a running back here. Because, like I said, the wide receivers later in these kind of drafts are so good, but a running back, just a couple after these guys, are guys that I don't really want on my team as much as guys right now. A guy like Miles Sanders has a lot of value here because while I think Miles Sanders did get hurt just 2 days ago when you're watching this, but at the exact same time, Miles Sanders, if he does recover and he can play, and they slowly submerge him into the offense, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games into the season, he's going to be a guy who could end up being a wide or a high end running back too, in my opinion. And obviously, the value here in the 9th round is very good for Miles Sanders. So we're going to go Miles Sanders here. After we went Miles Sanders, Chicago Bears defense was selected off the board, followed by Christian Kirk, Vance McDonald, Drew Brees, Larry Fitz, Carson Wentz, Royce Freeman, Sterling Shepard, Geronimo Allison, Kyler Murray, Marvin Jones, and Ronald Jones. So it's now our pick. And we are likely just going to go wide receiver here and feel pretty good about it because the quarterbacks are still going to be pretty good later, like I said before. So we're just going to go with a wide out that I like. So one of the wideouts that I like most has fallen to us. But before I pick that wideout, you guys probably know who he is if you watch a lot of my videos. But we're going to talk about how the Chicago Bears defense got picked at the 9-5. The Chicago Bears defense, you should not be picking a defense before the last round, in my opinion. If you're going to reach for the Chicago Bears, it better be in the 12th round or the 13th round because I would feel like a real idiot drafting them this early. I'd rather just stream a defense, which I'm going to explain later at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, if you made it all the way this far, you should probably stay till the end anyways because the way you win your draft is typically having 4 good picks in the beginning of the draft. You hit your first 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, and then getting these late round guys that have a lot of value and are falling way too deep in the draft, and you can take advantage of it. So we are likely just going to go with a wideout here, like I said, and we're just going to go with my favorite wideout, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Now, his teammate, where is he at? His teammate, Geronimo Allison, went 1, 2, 3, 4 picks before we got to pick. Now, I like Marquez Valdes-Scantling more than Geronimo Allison. I talked about that in my 7th round ADP video, or 8th round ADP video. You can go back and watch that. Geronimo Allison is a guy that I do like if Marquez Valdes-Scantling was to go before him, and I was stuck with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, or if I was stuck with Geronimo Allison over Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I wouldn't be too mad. Geronimo is going to be in the slot. MVS is going to be outside. He's going to go outside the numbers. Aaron Rodgers loves targeting outside the numbers guy, and I know I already have Devontae Adams on my team. I know. So that may stray you away from going for Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but in my opinion, I would not hate playing both of them at the exact same time in an advantageous game where I think the Green Bay Packers are playing a shitty defense. Now, when they're playing the Bears, I would stray away from doing something like that. Week 1, you can't be doing that. But just a few weeks into the season, they may be playing a shittier offense, and I think that playing 2 receivers on the same team is not necessarily terrible. Now, if they have a bad game, that is going to completely lose you your game because if Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Devontae Adams don't combine for like 35 points, you're probably fucked. But At the same time, if he's your flex and he scores you 10 points, that's obviously great value here. And I believe that Marquez Valdez Scantling, even if you keep him and then you just trade him for someone better that you believe is better and you could package him away. Now, you don't want to be drafting guys that you know for a fact you want to trade. You don't want to draft 4 quarterbacks because you're like, oh, let me trade them. And the other teams are just like, oh, what an idiot, because you have 4 quarterbacks, your running back sucks, so I'm not going to trade with you. And it'll just be funny because you're going to be stuck in last place. So we're going to go with MVS here. So after we went Marquez Valdez Scantling, Sammy Watkins was selected, followed by LaShawn McCoy, the old fucking man, Russell Wilson, Damian Harris, Cam Newton, David Njoku. So we got 2 bench spots left. We don't have our quarterback, and we don't have a kicker, defense, or 2 bench spots. So right here, we're gonna just pull the trigger right here on a quarterback, and we're gonna go with a safe option. Now, typically, I like a lot of guys back here. I like Goff. I like Winston. I like Dak. I like Lamar Jackson. I like Josh Allen. But I want to go with a guy who seems very safe here. Uh, he seems the most safe out of any of these guys, and that's Jared Goff. Jared Goff should be able to elevate his game from last season. He played great during the regular season. Now during the playoffs, but during the Super Bowl, obviously you saw he took a shit on the field. He was overthrowing guys, not being able to make great passes. But I think that there's a lot of pressure in the Super Bowl. There's not a lot of pressure week 1, week 2, week 3. He knows he can do it. He knows that he is the guy on the Rams, and he knows that he can make throws. They have great wideouts there. He can emerge easily this year when I think they're going to rely less on running the ball due to Todd Gurley's injury. So I believe that Jared Goff this year is really going to make his breakout for fantasy. He already broke out last year, played pretty well, and he's definitely a very safe option. And if Jared Goff ends up being shit, like I said, it's a 10-team league, so you can just say, fuck you, Jared Goff, get the fuck out of here, cut his ass, pick up a guy like Josh Allen, and ride Josh Allen for a while. And then once Josh Allen's in a hard matchup, you cut him, add Kiss and Titties Trubisky, add Kirk Cousins, add Jimmy Garoppolo, add whoever you want. So we're going to go with Jared Goff here. After we went Jared Goff, AP came up the board, followed by Jalen Samuels, N'Keal Harry, Cortland Sutton, Kiki Cootie, Dede Westbrook, DK Metcalf, LA Rams defense, Corey Davis, Dante Foreman, Jerick McKinnon, Curtis Samuel. And now is our pick. So we are just going to go with, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs, and 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers. So likely you want to finish the draft with more running backs than receivers because, like I said, there's a lot of running backs at the end of the draft that could be lottery tickets to you winning your Super Bowl. A lot of these late round wide receivers are just going to be pretty average, and you can easily pick up some guy off the waiver wire that you can start as a wide receiver. Whereas as a running back, it's almost impossible. Like I said, due to the fact that unless someone was to get injured, then a lot of these running backs are not going to have very much value. So we are just going to pick a guy who pretty much will have no value in a couple of weeks if Melvin Gordon signs. If Melvin Gordon signs, this pick is terrible. But if you're watching this video and Melvin Gordon has already signed, so click off right now and just go watch a more recent video. But we're going to select Justin Jackson because he could end up being not a workhorse running back, but a guy that puts up solid points as a solid running back, back half running back 2, a high end running back 2, or even a back running back 1. He is solid. He could play pretty solid. He played pretty solid last year when Melvin Gordon was injured. So I have a lot of confidence in Justin Jackson this late in the draft. So we're going to go with Justin Jackson. After we went Justin Jackson, Jags defense went followed by the Baltimore Ravens, Kylos Hyde, Emmanuel Sanders, Peyton Barber, James Washington. So we have 1, 2. We got 4 wide receivers, so I'm pretty confident with that. And we have a great tight end. So if Zach Ertz was to get hurt, you just drop him. Or not drop him, I guess. If he got hurt and he was out for the season, you just drop him. But you just drop one of these guys that's on your bench that doesn't pan out. You just drop him, and you just add a new tight end week 10 when Zach Ertz is out, or not out, but out on bye. So we're just gonna go with one more running back here at the back. That could be a lottery ticket to our championship. That could end up being a guy that we start as our flex every single game. So we're going to go with Matt Breida here. Now, news came out today as I'm recording this video that Matt Breida is being on the offense all over the place. He's catching passes. He's running the ball. And I've told you guys all offseason that you got to target Breida because he's the latest running back on the team. Not the newest running back, but he's the guy who's going the latest out of everyone on the 49ers. The 49ers are going to probably be a running back by committee. They're going to be splitting rushes. They're going to be splitting targets. Kind of confusing. But if you just take a guy right at the end of the draft that could inherently have that value as the running back 1 on that team, obviously comes with a lot of value. So in my opinion, that's why we're going to go Matt Breida here. So after we selected Matt Breida, we're going to go Deshaun Jackson came off the board, followed by James Winston, Philip Rivers, Tom Brady, Big Ben. So a quarterback run went for people who decide to pick backups, but you don't need a backup quarterback in a 10-team league. Followed by Ito Smith, the Chargers, Greg Zuerlein, a bunch of defenses and kickers. So we're going to go with our defense here. And the defense, the way you're going to pick a defense, all right, you're going to go to Google, and you're going to type in NFL schedule week 1, and then you're going to be like, okay, which defense is playing a shitty offense? And you draft that defense for week 1, and then you know what you do week 2? You see if they have a good matchup week 2, and if they don't, you just kick them to the curb. Don't you come back, you know what I'm saying? You kick them, cut the fuck out of them, and then week 2, you just add a different defense. It's that simple. So we're going to go with the Cowboys for their easy week 1 matchup against the Giants. Now, a lot of people think that fucking somehow the Giants will be okay. They're not going to be that good. Saquon's going to score touchdowns, so obviously they're not going to shut them out. But Eli loves throwing picks. Daniel Jones loves throwing picks. Whichever quarterback's out there is going to throw picks. They're going to get sacked. Their O-line is not that great. So we're going to go with Dallas. Get Dallas Cowboys defense here. So I'm only going to say players that are real players, not kickers or defenses, because it's just a waste of time listing off a bunch of defenses. So Austin Hooper went, followed by Devin Funchess. Devin Funchess is a walking L. That man can't catch a pass if you paid him. And they do pay him a lot of money, and he doesn't catch the balls. So we're just going to go with the best kicker available, which is Gostowski. And then Golden Tate came off the board, followed by a bunch of kickers. Alexander Madison, the backup for Dalvin Cook, a guy that could obviously have some value if Dalvin Cook was to go down, and Dalvin Cook is an injury-prone player, so that's obviously a pretty solid pick in my opinion. And then Dak Prescott went, a guy that I like to target late round in my drafts if I wasn't to have targeted Jared Goff. So our finishing lineup here is Jared Goff at the QB, Nick Chubb and Marlon Mack as my 2 running backs. Our 2 wideouts are Devontae Adams and T.Y. Hilton. Our tight end is Zach Ertz. Our flex is Kenyon Drake. Our kicker, Mr. Steven Gostowski. Our defense, Dallas Cowboys D. Our bench is Tyler Boyd, Latavius Murray, Miles Sanders, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Justin Jackson, and Matt Breida. So thank you guys all for watching the video. Please click that subscribe button down below. If you really enjoyed this video, you're going to enjoy every single other video I put out. I put out a lot of videos. You're going to see a shit ton of content. Later today, you're going to see another video and maybe even a second video. Today, maybe a 3-upload day. We'll see. But have a great goddamn day, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or I'll see you guys later, actually. You're going to watch the later video. So goodbye, guys.